Hello, and welcome to Fundamentals of Programming 1 Online Orientation. I'm Paul Kester. My name is spelled with an O, but the O is silent, so it's pronounced Kester. For the first 20 years of my career, I worked as a software engineer and later as a manager, most recently with Hewlett-Packard. For the last 17 years, though, I have taught computer programming at the community college level, first with Brookhaven College in Dallas, and currently with Tarrant County College in Fort Worth. In this class, we will learn how to design computer programs using flowcharts. We will create programs using the C++ programming language. We will learn how to debug computer programs, and we will learn professional software development methods. What are you going to need? We need a textbook, the Starting Out with C++ from Control Structures Through Objects, the 9th edition. It's the one with the grapefruit on it, written by Tony Gaddis in 2017. All this information is also available in the syllabus in your class website. For this class, used or ebooks are fine, and my programming lab is not required. The bookstore may try to sell you a bundle that includes my programming lab. That is not required. I also want to let you know that if you happen to have the previous edition, the 8th edition with the orange on the cover, that is just fine. So if you have that already or can obtain it more inexpensively, that's going to work just fine for this class. For the first several chapters that we're going to be using, it's almost identical. You're also going to need in this class some software. Two pieces of software. One is the Raptor program, which we're going to use for flowcharting, and the other is Visual Studio. When you go to the Microsoft webpage to download Microsoft Visual Studio, you will see the Community 2019 version now. They just switched that recently. But that's the version I recommend that you download. It's slightly easier to use than the previous versions. However, if you've already have a version of Visual Studio on your computer and you're already used to that, that's okay too. I won't notice whether you did your programs on an earlier version or on this one. There are instructions in Lesson 2 that tell you how to download and install it. One of those instructions will mention that you need to request the desktop development with C++ workload. Again, instructions in Lesson 2. What do you have to do? In this class, you will be reading 8 chapters. That's going to be chapters 1 through 7 and chapter 10 in the Starting Out with C++ textbook. There will be 8 quizzes, an orientation quiz, and then quizzes on the chapters in the book. And there will be 10 programming assignments. Most of those assignments have 2 parts, where you'll write a flowchart and then the equivalent C++ program. There also are 4 discussion board assignments and 2 exams. I'm going to talk more about each of these things. One of the things students want to know is what the late policy is in this class. And so the policy is that for each of the assignments, there is a deduction of 2 points out of 100 per calendar day on all assignments. So if something is due Friday at midnight and you turn it in on Monday, that's 3 days late, or minus 6 points. That means that if you just have 1 or 2 assignments that you end up turning in a day late, that's not going to hurt you in this class. But be careful, because if you get in the habit of it, those late points add up very quickly. The other thing you need to know about turning in the programming assignments is that it is your job to make sure that the programs work correctly. If you turn in an assignment and it doesn't work correctly, I will give you a 0 for that assignment, tell you what's wrong with it, and give you an opportunity to resubmit it. But there's a 5-point deduction every time you need to resubmit after the first one. So you want to make sure that your programs work correctly the first time you submit them. There are 8 quizzes. They all consist of 10 multiple choice questions. You have 30 minutes to do them. That's a lot of time to answer 10 multiple choice questions, but it's not enough time to read the entire chapter while you're trying to take the quiz. So in order to do well on the quizzes, you want to make sure that you read the chapter first before you start taking the quiz. You're allowed to refer to the book while you're doing the quizzes, but you want to make sure that you're familiar with the content of the chapter before you take the quiz. There are also 4 discussion board assignments in this class. What I expect from these assignments is college level writing. That means complete sentences, that means they should be professional, and they should be constructive. What I don't want to see in the discussion board assignments are text abbreviations, street language, informal type writing. I know they're discussion boards. They look kind of informal. They look kind of like a chat room, but it's still an assignment, a writing assignment in a college course. I do take off points for spelling and grammar. So be aware of that as you're writing the discussion board assignments. There are 2 exams, a midterm exam and a final exam. Each of those lasts 90 minutes. They are open notes. They're not open book, and they're not open internet or open friends. But you can use any notes that you have handwritten or notes that you have typed and then printed out, but they have to be on paper. The only thing you're allowed to be looking at on the computer while you're taking the exam is the test itself. So any notes you want to refer to have to be in a notebook or on separate pieces of paper. The exams for this class will be proctored using a software called Proctorio. And for that, you need to have a webcam and a microphone attached to your computer. Almost all laptop computers today come with that already built in, but if you're using a desktop computer or an older computer, you may have to attach a webcam and microphone. The $25 webcams you can get at Walmart will work just fine for that. I will be sending out more information about Proctorio and the exams in the first couple of weeks of class, but you can go to proctorio.com if you're curious and want to see more information. Attendance. TCC requires that I take attendance in this class, even though it's an online class. So attendance will be based on submitting the programming assignments. So there are 10 assignments for which I will take attendance. If the assignment has 2 parts, it's the second one or the C++ one that counts. If there's an assignment and 1 week after the assignment you haven't turned it in, then that you will be marked absent for that assignment. Be aware, writing computer programs is hard. I tell people that the human brain was not designed to write computer programs. That is why people who do write computer programs get paid so well. If you look up frustrating in Google and you look at the images, most of them are going to include a computer in them. People find using computers frustrating. Turns out that writing computer programs is even more frustrating. On top of that, you've made your life more difficult because you're taking this class online. Learning online is also challenging, right? So what do you do to deal with this? One is you need to read and understand the textbook. That means going back over it and reading it again, or reading the parts again you didn't understand, or Googling some of the concepts and then going back and reading it. It means working ahead. All the assignments in this class can be turned in early, except the exams. So I encourage you to work ahead. That way, when you do run into some trouble, you have some time to deal with it and it doesn't become a crisis. If you're having trouble with this class, get help. I'll talk some more about ways to get help. And don't let yourself get discouraged. Hang in there. Here are some ways that you can get help. Most of the answers are in the textbook. Go ahead and refer to that. Tony Gaddis, the author of our textbook, has some really good videos that go with the textbook. Those are listed in the resources page for our class. There's also a really great set of videos that explain a lot of things in C++ at the ZOAX website. And there are other Raptor and C++ resources on our resource page. You can also ask someone you know who has programming experience. And of course, you can send me an email which explains the problem. It's better to attach the source code or Raptor file to the email. So, let's get started. We need to read the online orientation and the syllabus, print out the class schedule. There's a lot of due dates on there, so print it out. Take the orientation quiz. For that quiz only, you get 2 tries. All the others, you just get 1 try. And then we're going to play a game. That's actually called Lab Number 1. But it's a game that introduces you to programming, and it's a lot of fun. Then you can post your introduction and start reading Chapter 1. Follow along the instructions in the lessons, starting with Lesson 1. I hope you enjoy the class, and please be sure to let me know if you have any questions or need some help. Welcome to the class.